What is going on? I don't think my mic is up. Is it up?
Yeah.
All right, because I can't hear myself.
How do you not hear yourself?
I don't know. I hear you. I always hear you. You're so loud, man.
I'm a loud man.
I see that. Anyways, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Dharma Time here on WPSN99.com. I'm your host, the Dharma Guy, as always with the Dope Doctor. What's up, man?
What's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. It feels like
Are you really doing good?
I'm actually doing great.
That's great.
I'm doing better than great. I will say though that it feels weird right now because it feels almost like it's been like 14 days since we've been here. I'm just gonna put that out there.
It's been a while.
It has been 14 days exactly. And I've got short time right now, which is the worst. Because for those of you who don't know me personally, I'm leaving.
You got diabetes?
I don't know. Hopefully not.
Oh, okay.
But I'm leaving for Jackson Hole, Wyoming, tomorrow morning. So I've got short time disease.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to the cold, baby.
Like, is anybody caught that's like your second vacation and I haven't taken one? Is anybody catching
your
this?
life is a vacation.
Wait a minute. Is anybody taking
Hold on.
this?
You're the 1%ers,
Wait,
dude. Your
is
life
anybody
is the
like
vacation.
taking note that this is your second vacation?
Well, first one was a family
one.
vacation, and then the second one, and at the same time, weren't you in California? I think at that same time for like 6 months or something.
No hablo inglés.
Yeah, exactly. And this one is anniversary. Angel and I are celebrating 4 years married, 5 years together. So there's that.
All right. I'll give it to you. Happy anniversary, man. When is the actual anniversary day?
December 13th.
Which is approximately the same day I found out that you even had a girlfriend.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We'll deal with
so
that.
So 4 years
time.
from today, I found out that you actually cared about somebody.
Whatever. But you and I weren't as close as we are now, though. Then, man, you got to remember that. You got to.
Did you just say we weren't as close?
That's right.
As close?
As close.
Oh, as close. I was
yes.
like, is that a term?
No.
I was like, what kind of...
Dude, if that's a term, I'm good, bro.
We're still not as close. Let's clear that up.
If that's what we're shooting for, I'm okay if we never make that one.
I'm sorry, Mama, if you're listening,
But anyways, no.
We were wait a minute. We were close enough, bro.
Yeah, we were
on
close.
The show.
No, I don't disagree with
we
that.
were on the couch live. I mean, we were close enough that...
But I think at that time too, there was a lot of stuff happening with the investors that you brought in to Tropical.
Okay.
That were very irritating, and they were making some trouble, and so I think that spilled out onto other areas.
Yeah, screw them.
No excuse though. I mean, I still should have told you, I guess, but I digress. I didn't tell anybody.
You see the way
he's looking at me like he's
turning
crazy.
On me? Well, because you found a way to turn your secret life onto me.
Secret life. Wow.
Make it my fault. Mind you, people. He actually would come on the show, come on the couch live, and say, "Oh, I hate marriage. I'll never get married.
Yes.
Marriage is ridiculous."
Yes, I was very anti-marriage.
And then so he takes his trip to Vegas, and he comes back and goes, "Oh, marriage is beautiful. I love it."
Oh, I didn't say
rest
that
of my
yet.
Life.
Hold up, I didn't say all that just yet. But
Close enough. Close enough.
I was very anti-marriage until I met the most wonderful woman in the world who made me an honest man.
Matter of fact, I think that was the first time. No, I don't even have the camera on you, so she didn't see that.
Oh, man.
Nope, I don't have the camera on you.
Killing me here.
No, I'm sorry, man.
Come on, dude. Those brownie points if I've ever seen them. Damn it, man.
That's why I had it off.
You're horrible.
Actually, that was the first time I even ever saw you in jeans.
Yeah. No, that is not true.
That's a fact.
I have pictures of us with me wearing jeans before that.
No way.
Before I even knew she existed.
No,
So
you don't.
You don't pay attention to me.
No, you don't.
You don't pay attention to me. I apparently don't matter.
Are you going to break up with me?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to move on. Hence that is today's show topic actually is moving on.
Moving on.
Before we get to that, let's move on to our sponsors so we can get started on this wonderful topic. So we have some sponsors to help us keep the lights on and let us do what we do. We have 3 different treatment facilities known as Retreat Behavioral Health, Journey Pure, and Gatehouse Treatment.
Yep. All
fantastic facilities. We have Orange County Drug Free Coalition, which we're both members. He's actually the co-chair there. And we meet. I just missed our last meeting, actually. Because my kids were all sick.
You did.
Oh, I'm so terrified I'm going to get sick. My son was like the Exorcist, puking everywhere. 105-degree temperature, dude. Like, what is going on? Yeah. Anyways, I digress.
You puke in my house, I think you're pregnant. no puking in my house.
Well, we're not as close. So
all I get is females. So as soon as I see puking, I'm like, whoa.
Exactly.
Does Daddy need to go to Walgreens?
And then we have the Now Matters More Foundation, of which you were the founder. I'm the president.
Yes,
you can see us at nowmattersmore.org. You can donate. You can check us out. or you can call 833-NOW-MATTERS. And matter of fact, on my Facebook page, and I think yours as well, if you find us on Facebook, we have a fundraiser going on.
Yeah.
And I think today's the last day for Giving Tuesday, where Facebook is going to match every donation. So by all means, if you're going to give through that medium so we can get double.
Por favor.
And then last but not least, there's an event going on right now at Sports Subaru South, and that is called Share the Love, which you might have seen some commercials on TV. I know I did. And that goes on to the end of the year, and Subaru is going to make a donation of, I think, $50, and then you as a customer get to allocate a certain amount of money to a charity of your choice, and we are on the bill. So by all means, go down to Sports Subaru South.
That's right.
Get yourself a nice Subaru and mention us, and we will get some money from that. And
of course, it's smile.amazon.com for all the people shopping online right now.
Oh, that's right. Cyber Monday did pass, but that doesn't mean you can't add us for the rest of your shopping needs. And then, of course, you can find us on social media. That's at WPSN99. That's at the Dharma Guy, at the Dope Doctor, and, of course, at Now Matters More. And you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Dharma Time.
Yeah, what's up, Ben Barnwell over there in Georgia? How things going in Georgia?
Ben's good people. I like him.
Yeah, he is.
All right, so as we were kind of alluding to earlier on, today is going to be called, today's show is Moving On.
Moving on.
And I don't know about you. I
got to go.
Yeah. I don't know in your circle if these things are happening, but I will say that in my circle, and in that circle, I'm including my wife's circle.
Okay.
A lot of people that she knows, and a lot of people that I know, I don't know if it's a season, I don't know if it's a time of the year or what, but there's a lot of divorce and breakups happening right now. A lot. Like, there's something in the water. It's like, instead of coming in threes, they're coming in like 30s. It's insane. Every time I turn around, somebody's getting, I'm hearing about somebody divorced, somebody breaking up, somebody's not talking to somebody anymore. So I figured, what a great topic to have.
Yeah. Are you getting in line?
No.
You going to miss that cell?
I better not. Unless he just got a phone call from me later on that I'm not aware of.
I don't know if I'm in line. Exactly. I hope not. I just bought a house.
Exactly. So. Anyways. And so
maybe she wanted to upgrade before dropping me.
She wants half of this one, not the other one.
Exactly.
Okay.
I did joke. I did joke with Dana that while we were in between, because there was like 2 days in between selling a house and buying a house.
Right.
I said we got a couple days, Dana, to rethink this, because right now it's as clean as it's gonna get.
Right.
Both kids are 18. We have no house. Like, we were literally homeless as far as ownership, and I'm thinking, man, let's rethink this.
Is that why you had a swollen eye that day I saw you?
Yeah, she punched me in the head just for thinking about it. But I had that moment of
what if
there was a freedom moment that was like, well, I mean, because part of your brain is going like, bro, you're completely free, and then the other part says, yeah, but you love her, so like that doesn't.
You're not really free anymore.
I wish I hated her. Then that freedom would feel good, but I don't. So
there you go.
I had to keep it.
Yeah, well, and I
it didn't last long.
As far as moving on is concerned, I think that we're going to include, whether we specifically talk about it or not, all forms of it, right? Because we have a gentleman in the studio today he asked me earlier, had I gone through a breakup, and I had to stop and think. I was like, well, not really, like sort of, like never. I've never been through a breakup where I was really emotionally attached to my partner at the time, but I did think that I've had some really good friends.
I've never even went through a breakup, whether I was attached or not.
Right. I went through.
I never had a girlfriend besides. Right. And if you're watching and you think you were, you know damn well you weren't. So don't. You knew damn well. We were just playing. There was no attachments.
Well, that was the thing is I had friends, that we all kind of knew the game.
Yeah, they know.
But no, I think. But I did have like friends, right? Like I've had friends or even families for that matter. Yeah. That like I had family early on that I was semi close to as a kid. That some things went down that I didn't appreciate or approve of, and so I made that decision to no longer interact with them.
Yeah.
That one was kind of easy because I was just young and disgruntled. But I'm thinking of like I had a friend. There was a trio. It was myself, my buddy Terrence, and my friend Ed. And we used to call his nickname was Kokoroko.
Kokoroko.
Yeah. But anyways, and he was, he was one of the trio. We were all kind of really tight, and we all went to Miami together and partied a lot and traveled and things. And he met a woman. They started kind of talking and building their own little life. And I think it was our extracurricular activities at the time did not match up with what she believed was appropriate for her spouse at that time. And for whatever reason, I was the number one person there.
Yeah.
And so she kind of just she didn't necessarily put the kibosh on us hanging out, but she made his life kind of difficult.
You lost Coco?
Yes. He basically, we lost him to the dark side.
Yeah. Not the dark side,
so,
just,
Well, for us, it was a dark side.
Coco had to go take care of Coco.
Exactly. Well,
he had to take care of his Rocco.
Exactly. So I don't have any, it is what it is, man. He wanted to build a life. He made a choice. I can't fault that. Yeah. And I believe that they're actually married to this day, and they've been together ever since. And so put myself in the same shoes. If I had to choose between my wife I'm taking my wife. I mean, that's my partner. Yeah. So I get it. So anyways, I guess all that was just to say that breakups or moving on encompasses everything.
Right. Were you invited to the wedding?
No.
Whoa.
No, we haven't spoken. Like.
Oh, so he dropped you.
Yeah, like we're done. Like I couldn't even tell you what it looks like today.
Oh.
Like, he canceled like all of his social media and everything.
But you're all right? I mean.
No, I'm gonna cry right now, man. Like you're making me emotional.
Well, you're kind of going back to a hard time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, no closure.
I didn't need it. No, I just moved on.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is.
You miss your little Coco?
That's right. He was cool as shit, though. Like, he was actually, we were all good friends.
Yeah, I wonder if he says the same thing about you right now.
I don't know. Don't know. But, anyways, so
what a moment.
But as far as breakups are concerned, though, I think that realistically speaking, anybody who's listening to this at the moment, their thoughts are going towards more of the romantic kind. So I think that's where we're going to spend the majority of our time.
Okay.
And so from that one, it's harder for me to relate to, I guess, because like you said, I never really went through too many of those types of situations. Yeah. I can kind of imagine what it would feel like today. Like if my wife, if I were to go home and my wife was like, "Hey, I'm done," I'd be like, "What?" Like, this is probably the only person I've ever had in my life that it would be devastating for me. Like I can freely admit, and there was a point in my life where I wouldn't have admitted that, even though I would feel it, because I'd be too proud to admit that somebody got to me like that. But if I'm honest, I mean, that's my wife, dude. Like, yeah, she got to me. That's why I married her.
Right.
And so, yeah, it would be devastating for me to come home and have her be like, "I'm done." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. There were moments within our relationship where I even felt like it was possible, and my stomach hurt.
Right.
Like it felt like it was like physical. Yeah. And I was like, I don't even like the feeling, so I can imagine the kind of pain that accompanies that. I don't want.
Yeah, well, I mean, early on when her and I were kind of initially navigating this whole marriage thing, and anybody who's married or who has talked about it know that the first year is the roughest kind of a thing.
Right.
So during our first year, there was absolutely moments where it was in question of our longevity essentially.
Right.
And yeah, those days, like, my whole attitude changed. Like that whole day, I was just messed up. Mm-hmm. So I can get it. However, for those people who did have to pull the trigger essentially and kind of break up or divorce or whatever, I think the biggest pink elephant in the room that needs to be addressed is now what? Because I think that is I think at some point, once the initial shock or the initial pain or whatever kind of goes away, then logistically it's like, okay, now what do I do? Like, I got to pick up my life. I've got to move on. Like, if you were living with somebody, if you've got kids, if you're married,
right.
There's a lot of logistical stuff that still needs to happen,
right?
And then after you do all that, what do you do? Like that first day, especially if you've been together for any length of time. Like, I know for me, one of my biggest things, if her and I were to not make it, like today, for instance, would be like, what do I do with my time? Because all my time is spent with her, or like kind of building something or family type situations.
Yeah, and I'm busy, Trinity, so I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. That would be one of my, what do you do with all this?
I do have some extra rooms.
Sure. No, I want the bottom one. You can kick the Zoe out, man.
Kick Zoe out.
I want the suite at the bottom.
Yeah.
But no, I think that it's a process, though.
Yeah.
And I think that if you are going through a breakup, either you're in the middle of it or you're at the end of it, I think that you do need to appreciate the process.
Right.
And I think that sounds kind of weird to say, but
I think we should even start before that, Trinity. I think we should actually start with, at least for those that are married and stuff,
right,
that thank goodness we're in a time where the stigma is broken too.
Of divorce, you mean?
Yeah, so that you can do it.
Yeah.
Because, there was a time when, like, we were younger where it was a lot more...
Oh, you didn't get divorced. Like,
it was a lot more difficult. Yeah.
You were shunned against...
Right. So people felt a lot more... a lot more, I guess, pressured into trying to work things out that were not workable.
And I don't know, you've been married for much longer than I have.
26 years.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
But as I was like going through mine, it was a different era. Like, I don't know how it was for you in the beginning stages of yours, but in today's world, what I experienced is it almost flipped.
It flipped bad.
It was like, it used to be faux pas to get divorced, and now it's like almost faux pas to work things out.
Yeah.
Now it's like everything's disposable. If it didn't work, we'll get rid of them. Like, whoa,
yeah,
hold
that's
up.
the negative.
What?
It went too far.
Yeah. Because I definitely, I was blessed to have some friends in my life that kind of had some years in, and had a good head on their shoulders that gave me advice to keep it going.
Right.
But there was no shortage though of finding people that could have been, we'll get rid of her, man. There's another one. Like, and I'm like, that's not what I wanted to hear.
No.
Like, no, dude.
Well, people tend to think that relationships are supposed to be so damn easy.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're not supposed to fight. You're not supposed to have it hard. You're not. It's like,
whoever started that rumor, I want to find them and I want to punch them.
Yeah.
Like, why did you start that rumor, bro?
I mean, there's certain fights you don't want at the beginning. If you're having those fights at the beginning, then I'll tell you that ain't going nowhere. Because typically it's good at the beginning.
Yeah.
So if you're fighting day one,
if you met fighting, it's probably a bad foundation right there. I'm just going to put that out there.
Here's what I will say. If you met because of pure physical attraction and it's all about the heat, it's probably not going to work.
Maybe.
Because long-term relationships are so much about the friendship. There's so much about having likeness. In other words, there's a lot of couples, like in the olden days, the ones that have made it seems to be the ones that had completely two separate lives, so they didn't have to see each other, so it was easier to live 50 years without doing anything, right? In today's world, though, it's better to have somebody you're great friends with because you are what you have. You know what I mean? And when you're living two separate lives, it's too easy to get that distance and have somebody come in and wedge themselves in and say, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know why she's doing
that
those
or
why he's doing that. Oh, my God.
Liar.
Yeah.
Lies. Lies.
You know, so it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be a little difficult. I mean, that's kind of what makes it a little fun.
Yeah.
You know, it can't be too bland and boring.
I agree.
I think I'm going to go home and fight.
Yeah. But no, I will say though that I do understand though that there is a like an ugly side though of breakups, right? Like leading up to it, all the emotions and the fighting and the bickering and the kind of finger pointing and the blaming and stuff like that. Like I get that.
I think the insecurities is what I think is probably the worst of the whole situation. That it makes you a little bit insecure whether you're good enough, good looking enough, handling your business enough. Something personal.
Sure.
Because we all carry baggage, right? We all have baggage.
Of course.
And so who knows our baggage better than our other?
Nobody.
You know what I mean? So here's where all those conversations start biting you in the ass a little bit.
Well, just like
because they can use that shit against you.
Well, just like a show we did a few weeks back. It was basically respecting the power that you wield.
Right.
That is the thing, is your significant other has the power to scar you pretty deeply.
Right.
More so than pretty much anybody else in our lives. Like my wife has the ability to hurt me more than anybody else on this planet.
Yeah.
Like anybody in my life could say something to me.
Right.
And it would probably roll right off my back. I'm like, whatever. I would do the right thing. Right. I would chalk it up to, they're probably just going through something at the moment, taking it out on me.
Even if they say the same thing.
And let me go home and have my wife say the exact same thing to me.
Right.
It's not as easy to roll that off my back.
No. Anybody else tells me, hey, Louie, you have anger issues. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
If my wife looks at me and goes, you have anger issues, it's like, you're going to use that against me.
You're about to see them.
So it's that kind of stuff, because when they say it, there's stories to back it up that you only told them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you're cutting deep now.
Yes, I would agree with that one. But I mean, as far as the moving on part, I think that.
So how do you do it, Trini?
Well, I think that the very first step,
methodology.
Well, I think the first step is acceptance. At some point. Now, I'm not saying that if you go home and your spouse is like, I want to end things, and you just immediately like, okay, cool, and walk out the door. That's not what I'm saying.
I carry a backpack just in case.
But what I am saying, though, is there is a moment in every kind of, ending of a relationship where it's like, it's FUBAR. It's done. Like, okay.
Wait, what?
It's FUBAR.
Oh, God. Time to write it down.
You're not going to want to write that one down.
Yeah, you started it.
Do you know what FUBAR stands for?
No, I don't. That's why I'm writing it down. That's why I'm writing it down. And at the end of the show, for those that have watched the show before,
well, we are on internet, so I could say it.
When you use words that are, like words that I don't know.
That's an acronym, though.
Whatever. I wrote FUBAR. Go ahead.
Do you want to know what it stands for?
I can figure it out.
Okay.
But I'm sure you'll tell me later.
Wait a minute. Do I have to use the acronym or do I have to use the actual words that it stands for? It stands for fucked up beyond all repair.
Well, that's
or
not
recognition.
What that says, but okay.
What did that one say?
Out of order.
What?
Out of order.
Out of working order.
Out of working order.
I don't know. Well,
See?
FUBAR is...
You didn't know it was an actual word, did you, Trinity?
FUBAR is fucked up beyond all either repair or recognition.
Wow, okay.
Anyways, my point in all that was that, there comes a point in that kind of negotiation, if you will, when you have to acknowledge it's over. Like, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
I like, as much as if I went home and my wife, like I said, was saying that to me, it wouldn't be an immediate thing. I'd be like, hold up, let's talk about this. Let's try counseling. Let's go through some steps prior to walking away. But there will have to be a moment in every ending of a relationship to say, okay,
right.
Like, I've fought the fight. I've done what I could do. There's no fixing this. It is completely, it's done. And so I think when it gets to that point, you have to accept it.
So I think you're bringing up an important distinction here. And the distinction is between a relationship that is of boyfriend-girlfriend.
Yes.
Or, since it's 2019, 1-in-1. Or a relationship that is of marriage.
Okay.
Because I think if it's of marriage, I think there's a lot more fight to the game. In other words, I think you have to fight to keep it a little bit more. Well, and if there's children involved, maybe you fight even just a little bit more. You want to in other words, you want to exhaust all possibilities of repair or continuing in the relationship. If it's dating, and I'm serious here, if it's dating, and you happen to be dating somebody that likes to break up every weekend kind of deal. Because there are those people,
the volatile ones.
There's always those people
Gotcha.
that just throw out the words too quick. Now, a lot of it's due to past relationships.
Sure, it's almost all.
Exactly. So people have baggage.
Sure.
She may be beautiful. You may love her. She may think you're a king, and she loves you. But if you guys tend to get back together, don't get back together, or there's head games, and you're just dating,
walk away, bro.
Walk away now.
Yeah, walk away.
Because that is baggage, and it's not dealt with, and nobody deserves that baggage. And I'm sorry, babe. There's nobody that hot, because I know I'm not that hot. You're not that hot. Nobody's that perfect to have to deal with the emotional crap that goes with that and the back and forth that goes with that. Yeah. That's not something anybody should allow themselves through. So you have to get out of the thought process of I care, and put all that energy into how much you care about the person, and put a lot more energy into this isn't what I deserve in my life.
Right.
This isn't what I want in my life. And you know what? I'm doing you a favor too.
Yeah.
Because you're still in a habit that you need to go take care of. And I'm not going to be here for your therapy. Well, if I am going to be here for the therapy, I'm helping you in this way. Nah.
Yeah, that's the biggest part, right?
I'm going to be that part of the therapeutic process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you touched on something that one of my favorite phrases I think I've ever heard when it comes to the dating scene is everybody's out there spending all this time and effort and energy trying to find the right one.
Right.
But they don't spend enough time trying to be the right one.
Yes, be the right one.
And I think that is a major kind of sticking point, and that is, one of the examples I guess I used earlier when he was asking me about breakups. Like I had a girlfriend when I was like 18. I was probably just under 18. I was with her for a few years, and we went our separate ways. And I'm often asked or I talk about it, or even when my wife asked me about it years ago, I was like, it is what it was. Like it wasn't like we were too young. We were not ready. I wasn't ready to be a good spouse. She wasn't ready to be a good spouse. Neither one were really ready to kind of be who we needed to be. Right. I wasn't the right person. Right. And so we kind of ended things and went our separate ways, and because of that, there's no like malice between the two of us now. It's just it just didn't work. We're still cool.
Wait, you still talk to her?
Yeah, well, Facebook, dude. Everybody talks to everybody these days.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, so my point.
I like to scratch wounds if I can.
Yeah, go for it. But no, so my whole thing though is yes, if you're relatively new in the situation and you're already noticing a bunch of red flags popping up, like listen to those red flags. Don't ignore them. That's your body, that's your brain saying, "Hey, stop."
Yeah, don't let lust blind you.
Yeah, dude. Like there are, you're getting the taste of what is to come. And there's no guarantee.
Right.
Yes, we all grow in theory, but there are those who just don't grow, or they don't grow at the pace that you would need them to grow to where it remains healthy. And so, if there's a lot of wounds that need to be healed with this individual,
right,
and you're with them, you're running the risk of being their therapist, and that's not a position anybody should be in. Because you're not supposed to be the therapist, you're supposed to be the relationship
or
the
savior,
or don't be a Captain Save-A-Ho.
Yeah,
that's not your.
Ooh,
what?
Okay,
that was me for years, bro. I was Captain Save-A-Ho.
Whoa, just keep going.
Oh God,
moving on.
I know we're almost 2020 now, so
okay. Host of the guys then.
I didn't say I was male or female.
I
For me personally, I wasn't out there dating dudes, so I was
the
in
views
my
and
life.
opinions expressed on the Dharma Guy or Dharma Time, or
That's
views
right.
and opinions of Dharma Guy himself.
Anyways,
not those of Louis Delgado.
My point being though is yes, if it's early on and you're seeing those kinds of things, walk away.
Yeah,
let the person know that look, I'm just not the right person for you at the moment. You're not the right person for me at the moment. Let's kind of go our separate ways.
Bye.
And then when you do that, big thing here. If you're going to walk away, walk away.
Right.
Don't get back every now and then.
You got to walk
it's
once.
A comfortable thing.
You got to walk once.
Yes. Walk away and stay away.
Yeah.
In other words, don't be that person that says, "Oh, we're broken up, but we still sleep with you." No, that's not broken up, dude. That sends insane mixed signals. It's complicated. It's messy. Stop. But yes, I will say though that there comes a point in every relationship that is going to end of acceptance. That to me is the first step, and acceptance. That's after you've taken every step necessary to try to fix it. And yes, I agree. If you're dating, there's a certain set of requirements, if you will, that need to be met before you can walk away. If you're married, there's another set of requirements. If you're married with children or with property, things of that nature, like it just gets more complicated, more in depth, obviously. But at the end of the day, there will come a point where if it's officially over, you have to accept it.
Yeah, and that moving on process and the accepting is kind of finding out, what did I contribute to it? Now, I know that it may be difficult for you to admit to the person, so you don't have to admit it to the other person.
No.
Not yet, maybe not ever. However, you do have to admit it to yourself if you really want to move on, because you don't want to take baggage from your past relationship onto your future, because people do sound similar. So if you're not resolved in some sort of way, you're going to take this last breakup into your next one, and as soon as they even start sounding remotely like that last one, you're going to read too deep into a regular conversation or a regular argument, because they tend to sound the same at onset.
Yeah.
So, we don't know how close you're going to get to the root and go, oh, that sounds similar. No, that's just right there similar, but it's going to sound different here, and it's going to sound different.
Of course. Well, just because you hear hooves doesn't necessarily mean it has to be horses.
Yeah,
it could be zebras.
Exactly. There's a lot of zebras.
Yeah. And that would be, to me, is the next step, right? So the first step is just acceptance. The first step, in other words, is let go. Like, stop calling, stop texting, stop emailing, stop stalking their Facebook. Like, let it go.
And if it's at 2 in the morning, it's because they're feeling a certain something,
exactly,
or they have something in their system, and they're messing with you.
And then the second step, I think, is to me is extremely important, and I don't think a lot of people do it. And that is, look inward. Right. When after you've accepted, all right, it's over. Let me move on.
Right.
What could I have done differently? Like, who was I, and who could I have been? And that doesn't mean that it was all your fault or all their fault. Like, because right now I'm thinking, I'm hearing a bunch of people, well, they cheated on me. Yeah, I'm not saying that they are perfect, but you contributed somehow, some way. Nobody else is perfect. Just like they weren't perfect.
Wait, you think everybody contributes to everything?
Yes.
Wait, is that what you're saying?
100%.
Explain that a little bit further.
Okay.
I think you're going to have to
in
explain
what
that
reference?
I mean,
context?
Well, I thought I put it in context. Try to figure out how to put it in better context. All right, so like you're saying that no matter what happened to you from the other person, you contributed to it.
Yes.
That's the part I want you to explain.
Okay. Such as, like what? Like if somebody hits on you or something, or somebody cheats on you, or somebody just yelled at you?
Okay, if I find out right now Dana just cheated on me, explain to me how I contributed to it. That's all I'm trying to figure out.
Well, what I would say, and
I'm sure there's somebody out there saying I didn't contribute shit.
Oh, I know there is. I heard that all the time.
So I want to just hear it.
What I would say is in those types of situations, there's an old adage, and it's not this simple, but it's a great way to kind of minimize it, if you will, and that is, happy people don't cheat, right? That's typically how it happens. And
but insecure people do.
Absolutely.
All right.
And so, like, in my relationship with my wife, right, it's my job to tend to her needs. It's my job to make her feel safe and secure, and vice versa. And so, when infidelity rises in, infidelity is almost never, and there's always outliers, but it's almost never just about the physical act of sex. There's some other need that is being met there. And if that need is being met outside of the home, then obviously it wasn't being met inside the home. And that doesn't necessarily imply that it's always one person's fault. In other words, the person who got cheated on, I'm not saying it excuses the behavior of somebody cheating or infidelity, things of that nature. Of course not. That's never the right way to handle it. Having said that, I could think of 3 different instances right now of people I know that the person was not feeling loved, was not feeling safe, was not feeling secure, brought it up to this person, but this person was too, I'll say, immature. They weren't in a place to be able to handle those needs from that person in the way they needed to handle them. And so instead of working on it together and understanding that maybe they're lacking in certain areas and they need to get better, they just ignored it. Well, those problems don't just go away because you ignore them. They continue to fester and to grow until finally that person met somebody else. And they started talking. Never was intended to do certain things, but they started scratching an itch that needed to be scratched that this person brought up to their home numerous times, like, hey, this is not being met. One thing led to another. Now, is this person at fault for stepping outside the relationship? 100%. You don't do that. You figure out other ways to work on that. However, you have to have a willing participant. You have to have a willing partner to understand, hey, you know what? Maybe I am lacking in these areas. Maybe I need to get better at this. Maybe I need to get better at giving you what you need. And if they don't, then you can't be surprised when life happens. Because at the end of the day, things are going to happen whether you want them to or not. Right. And so part of my duty as a husband for my wife is to work on the things that she's going to need me to work on, whether I want to or not. Is there certain things, like for instance in my own relationship, that I didn't think were a problem, but they were causing a problem at home. And so that's where the compromise comes into play. I have to say, you know what? It doesn't really matter to me, but it matters to her. And if I want to keep her, if I want to make sure she feels safe and secure, then I'm going to have to put some work in to adjust this.
Right.
If I didn't want to adjust, then I don't need to be in a relationship. If it's all about me and my way, then I need to stay single. Because
that's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're not willing to work on yourself, if you're not willing to occasionally put your thoughts or your emotions in the back seat for your spouse, don't get into a relationship.
I do agree with that part. What I take issue with is that I think things don't always have to happen on both sides for a problem to exist. I think sometimes one side can be that injured. I think one side can be that insecure. I think one side can be that that much of a saboteur. So
I don't disagree with that.
So if you did anything at all, this is where I would put it. It's not that I don't think that some of you ladies and some of you guys out there weren't handling your business at home, and that's you created a cheater or made a cheater or anything like that. I think a lot of times, if I was going to say you have to look at yourself or anything, it's your picker is broke, or you seem to attract people who just are cheaters, and so you have to ask yourself, what am I fishing with? What is it that I'm already that I'm accepting of certain traits of another type of person that tends to not be a loyal person?
And that was my next point.
Right.
By the way.
So I'm kind of looking more along that side.
Well, that was my other point.
Rather than cause. In other words, correlation, not necessarily causation.
Well, that was my other point that I didn't get to yet.
Premature.
And that was so on one hand, there's the day-to-day stuff.
Right.
But then there's the other part. And I feel I fit within that second category for sure in different instances.
Okay.
Because who I was and the things that I valued in life early on in my life attracted I hate this word, but I can't think of a better I'll instead of I won't use that word because I do hate it.
Don't
I'll say I attracted pain.
Yeah.
Right?
Me too.
There was females that were just dealing with pain, and I attracted them.
Yeah. I think we're similar in that respect.
The way I conducted myself, the way I presented, the things that were important to me, the things that I valued, the things that I looked for, was like a calling call to anybody who had pain and trauma to come my way. And so, yes, I wasn't necessarily doing anything to facilitate that pain and trauma for them. I was, quote unquote, trying to be the good guy there, but they were already kind of wounded. They were already dealing with pain and trauma, and I wasn't the right person to help them get over that. Having said that, it was, like you said, my picker. It was the bait that I was using was bringing that to me. So I had to understand in my own life, I had to change my value system.
Yeah, I just fished with a happy lure. So if they wanted to have a good time,
exactly,
then obviously any fish that wanted a good time was like, woo, I'm gonna bite that.
Right.
That was the only lure I knew how to fish with.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say for me, that was what I had to learn for myself. Like, that was the insight that I had to gain. Was, wait a minute,
that's what the money and the drugs are for, baby.
Yeah,
it's like happy lures.
So I had to decide for myself that I was going about it the wrong way.
Yeah,
and so those are, to me, that's how it takes too. So even if it's a situation where let's say you are healed and you've done the work for yourself and you've matured in the areas that you need to mature in, but you pick somebody who is not on your level,
right?
And instead of being honest with yourself, because if you really truly are that matured, you're going to see that in the other person,
right?
And so instead of overlooking that, maybe you should have said, "Hey, this person isn't really ready to be in a relationship."
Right.
But instead, you let lust and everything else cloud your judgment, and you thought, "Hey, I can help them," or that's not your role.
Right.
You are not their therapist. So if you truly are healed and you see, pain and trauma in the other person,
right,
maybe you need to take a step back and let them go through that healing process. And maybe they're just not right for you. Maybe they're just not.
Right.
Not everybody's intended to be for everybody else.
Yeah, and just because you fished with substance, which is what I did with Dana. I was fishing with substance. I actually had a conversation with her.
Yeah.
Like a full-on conversation and stuff like that. So I fished with substance. Sometimes there's people out there that use the substance to play people.
Sure.
And I think that's a pretty dangerous individual. If you happen to find yourself in a relationship with someone who used their substance to kind of get you emotionally attached, but then kind of plays with you a little bit and then tends to stay emotionally attached with other people as well, that you makes you feel more insecure, you voice that insecurity, and they tend to say, so what?
Right.
It just is what it's going to be. You can't change me. This is the way I was before you. This is the way I'm going to be. That's not healthy.
It's not relationship
because
material.
In relationships you do adapt. And a matter of fact, as your life choices change, you do adapt. So yeah, you may have always lived in Florida, but if your job happens to be in Texas, you're going to move to Texas.
Sure.
So what makes it different with a relationship? Well, I've always been like that, so I'm always going to be like that. No.
Yeah, I don't grow
You have a new occupation.
Emotionally.
Yeah, you have a new occupation. That means you're going to change some of the things that you did.
Yeah.
So they may be your boys and all, but here's the cool thing about boys, and I'm talking to men right now. Your boys are always going to be your boys, whether you communicate with them or not. I can talk to any guy right now, and they know it because I got guys that watch these shows that I haven't physically seen or in 20 years or whatever. We're still just as much boys today as we were then.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to change.
Of course.
So real road dogs, they don't care,
not
man. They want you to go do what you got to do.
Yeah, handle your business.
They're all right with it.
So what I would say though,
unless they want to be your chick, and then that's different.
That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole other guy there.
But so I'd say the first step is accepting that it's over finally.
Right.
The second step would be kind of looking inward to see, all right, what did I do to contribute to that? Be it my actions or my inaction. What was it that I could improve on? What learning moments or teaching moments can I find from this past relationship?
Or insecurity, man. Let's not forget that insecurity, because I think people dig that.
Yeah. And then the third part, if you will, or the last step is, in moving on, is applying that knowledge. It's not enough to just learn it. If you keep replicating it, then you're the problem now, bro. Right. Maybe you're not as healed as you thought you were. Mm-hmm. But that is the last step is understanding what you like, understanding what you don't like, understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and going into a new relationship without all that baggage negatively impacting. Right. In other words, we're all going to have baggage, but we choose if it negatively or positively impacts us. Like I had baggage going in my relationship currently, but I chose to use that as a positive. Right. I use that baggage as ways of teaching me what I wanted and what I didn't want, as opposed to having it be a problem and having it create issues in our relationship. And so I think that is probably one of the most important ones, because oftentimes I'll see people making the same mistakes over and over and over and over. It's like, bro, you didn't learn from the first 7? Like at some point, you got to realize like that's a red flag for you, man.
Yeah.
And so I think applying those things that we learned is absolutely paramount, because it's easy, right? Like it's easy as hell to get into a relationship. Let's say you're emotionally involved. I won't say attached, but let's just say involved.
Right.
You're passionate about your perspective.
Right.
The situation doesn't work out, be it you or be it the other person. It's a choice. You're going to walk away trying to justify your behavior.
Right.
You're going to blame the other person. Well, they should have done this, or they didn't do this, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very easy to get caught up in that situation and saying, well, I'm good. It was just, they should have done this, this, and this. And then the next person comes along. There's some lust there. You overlook some of the same red flags that were there before, and you find yourself having the exact same arguments as you did the past 3 previous relationships.
Then you blame the whole gender.
Exactly. Then it's all women, or it's all redheads, or it's all Aquarians.
Oh no, it is all redheads.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
But that's the thing.
They do scare me though.
It's easy
for different reasons.
It's easy to fall into that trap of blaming everybody else instead of looking inward and be like, what did I do to contribute?
Yeah.
But at some point, you're going to have to step back and say, hold up, I'm the common denominator here.
Right.
And so, like I was saying earlier, the point I was made, after you called it out, and that is, if I didn't physically do anything in these situations, then maybe my picker's broken.
Right.
Like you are the common denominator in these situations. So if they continue to end badly, or if you find the same arguments happening, or you basically can look at all your exes and they all kind of seem like the same person with just different names, then you of all people need to look in the mirror and be like, all right, what do I need to do here? Like there's got to be a better way. And that better way, maybe you need to spend some time alone. Maybe you go to therapy, pick up a book. I don't know.
Right.
Look inward to say, what is it that I need to improve on? What am I doing to either attract this or to contribute to this problem?
Right.
And that's huge.
And for some of you that have created a lot of drama for yourselves, I recommend condoms.
Yes. Yes.
Birth control. I recommend birth control. The pull-out method doesn't
No, it does
work.
not work.
So you don't go back into, like, if you found yourself in a situation where you go, oh man, she got herself pregnant. No, she didn't.
No.
And if you continue the same behaviors and use the same excuses of why condoms don't work for you, you're gonna find yourself in that situation again.
Yeah.
So be very mindful of that, because I think, unfortunately, that's when you really seem to be attached to some people that you probably don't want to be attached to, because it's harder to walk away when there's children involved.
It's
just
and
I don't mean walk away like in the no more relationship away. I mean like there's still going to be an attachment, like you're tethered regardless.
For at least 18 years, and let's be honest, a lot
longer.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the only thing that can make a bad relationship worse is adding a kid to the mix. Like that just makes it all worse. Like because there's a lot of differences of opinions on how to raise them and everything else.
Can I say that different?
You can say it however you want, man.
No, can I interrupt you and say that different?
Say it however you want.
I want to.
Because I will say it for you. I'll say it.
It's not going to make it worse.
It will.
No, wait. Let me pause it.
Kids are not fun. Let's just be honest.
Hold on, because that's the blessing of the whole deal. So once the child is present in her or outside of her, then that's the blessing you have from it. But it doesn't change the fact that you can still walk.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact that you should still walk. You could still be a good parent without being together. In actuality, it might be worse if you stay together.
Yeah, it's better if you're from a broken home than in a broken home.
But I guess what I'm saying is, if you're going to be in a bad situation, at least you walked out of the deal with a beautiful life force, and don't blame that life force for all the other crap, because some of you do. Some of you will forever talk to that life force as if they were the problem. Like you remind me, you're just like your mother, or you're just like your father, or you're gonna be just like your mother, or you're gonna be just like your father.
Sure.
Stop that too.
Well, you're not a good parent at that point.
So that's why I don't. That's why the only reason I stopped you is because as soon as we say that's a problem, I don't want any young people to feel like they were ever a problem or a negative, because you weren't the negative or the problem. You were the blessing out of the deal. But your mom or dad, on the other hand.
See, I understand what you're trying to do, but I'm also not going to pretend like the kids don't bring problems, man. Like they are the catalyst. They're hard to parent.
No, you brought the problem. They're actually the blessing of the problem, and I think
that is one way of looking at it.
I just don't think they're the problem. I think that You know, because realistically, you can still walk away.
Sure.
There's people out there that have walked away completely from their kids.
Yeah.
They behave and act as if they've never had kids.
Yeah.
So no.
I guess what I'm saying is, if your situation is
find
already
it tough
bad,
to say that.
I don't.
I know.
If you're already in a bad situation, yeah, I'm sorry. The only thing that's going to make that bad situation worse, other than a crime or whatever,
that's all that came to my head. Is a prison sentence.
Is bringing in a kid. Now you're going to bring in another kid, and kids are a blessing if you're healthy enough or you're in a position to be able to view it that way.
And you can be.
But if you're in a situation where you're not grown, you're not healthy, and you're with somebody else that isn't healthy in an unhealthy situation, that kid is not going to be viewed as a blessing. That kid's going to be viewed as a catalyst for more problems.
And that sucks.
It does.
And that really sucks.
Which is why wear a condom.
Wear a condom.
Don't even run the risk of creating that entire disaster that we're talking about here. If you are not ready, or if this person isn't going to be the one, wear a condom, bro. Like, seriously.
Look, let me tell you something. If you're out there and you're single and you're not using condoms, I don't care if she's on birth control. I don't care if you think you're sterile. Condoms.
Well, there's STDs
we
too.
have seen people put a condom on their head. You ain't that big, brother.
Howie Mandel.
I don't care. So if it's ripping or that, you're not doing something right, or she's just not into you. If it's ripping out of friction, she's not into you. Yep. And if she is, she needs some something to make it just a little slickery.
Slickery.
You know what I mean? Well, you know what I mean. It's, what else can I say? I'm just saying.
Sure.
That if you're not,
Moist.
if you're single and you're not using condoms, you're asking for a long-term relationship with someone who you have not yet decided that this is a long-term relationship. Yeah. You're gonna let your swimmers make a determination whether this is going to be long term or not.
Well, and that's actually what I told my daughter, my 15-year-old. Her and I, we've had discussions about sex and things, and that's one of the things I told her. I was like, look, if you're not ready, or if you don't, if you're not ready to deal with the consequences that come along with sex, don't have it.
Don't do it.
Period.
Abstinence is a choice,
It's absolutely a choice.
It's a great one.
And my thing is, like, if you're not, because even with condoms, they can break. You can still have a baby, whatever. And so the last thing anybody wants to hear is, well, I didn't want to have a kid in the front. Well, you shouldn't have laid down then, bro.
I've used 1 million condoms, and I think
a million,
only one is broke.
1 million?
1 million.
Jesus, dude.
Dana and I have used condoms, for 20 years we used condoms.
Well,
off and on. I have no problem with
not twice.
I'm just telling you, I'm a responsible man, period. I didn't trust anything, and I didn't like the medication of what it could do to her body. So I made the choice as a guy to deal with whatever I thought about condoms, and that was my problem.
Sure.
It's not like I wasn't still going to enjoy myself.
Right.
So the point was, take the responsibility and do it. And so I did. So I'm not talking out of my ass here. I'm talking out of a sensible guy that the only person that can get anyone pregnant and have my genetics is me.
Yep.
She can't do it. It's only me.
No, I agree.
So I took full responsibility of that deal.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Even when we were married. You know what I mean? Because it was like, we have to do things correctly here.
Sure. But yeah, so I think I agree with you, though, as far as moving on. That makes it very difficult then to move on, because you'll never, if you're going to be a part of your kid's life, you'll never officially move on from that person either. As far as they're always going to be some presence in your life somehow, some way.
And that can be bad.
And even after they're 18, because if your kid gets married or whatever, they're going to want both their parents. Like, so there's always going to be some sort of connection there.
Yeah. And what if the reason you didn't want to be with them is something that's genetic? I don't want the genetics around me. You know what I mean? Like Dana has to deal with my genetics. She made that choice, right? But imagine the girls out there that says, I don't want Louis' genetics. Have you seen that dude? He's a little trip. What if I get that Louis gene? That's kind of crazy. Yeah. Dana took the chance. So Zoe and Diet, you got the gene.
There you go.
Enjoy it.
But anyways, so I think definitely
you better want it.
I think definitely with the moving on, man. It's not it's not easy, I guess, for some people, and for others it might be. Who knows? I think the more attached you are, the harder it is to move on. Of course.
Yeah, you can't walk forward looking backwards.
No, you can't.
So you just gotta, there's only one way to do it.
Yeah, but I think it's important to walk away with some dignity, though. I do. I think it's important to walk away saying, all right, it is what it is. There's and I was talking earlier about the same thing. Nobody wants to hear that shit when you're in the middle of it.
Right.
When you're in the middle of it, you don't want to hear it gets better. You don't want to hear that there's somebody else out there.
No.
You don't want to hear any of that.
No, it's going to be painful.
But you need to.
Yeah.
You need to be open to that. You need to acknowledge, yes. And the way that I'm going to ensure that I don't feel this kind of pain again, or at least way I'm going to take steps to help me reduce my chances of this happening again, is I'm going to grow from it. I'm going to learn to improve on my weaknesses. I'm going to learn how to accentuate my strengths a little bit better.
Right.
I'm going to learn how to be a better choice, if you will. So therefore, when I do find the quote-unquote right person, they look at me as the right person as well.
Right.
Because I can't stress that enough. Stop spending all your time looking for the right person. Be the right person. And then you will find them. They will find you. Trust me.
Right.
Stop having this checklist of what you want the other person to have, and just start working on being the best version of yourself that you can be, and you'll find somebody that appreciates and respects that.
Well, that's what I like about your Buddhist principles. So, like, I think about, like, you're not supposed to lust, right? So, like, if you're having to go fish again, like if you're going to go out with your friends and fish again because you just lost the fish you had, then you got to work on that, right? That craving, that need of someone else,
yes.
that carnal desire that's like, well, that's maybe part of the problem.
Well, you still have it. You just learn to let it come and let it go.
Yeah.
Like you no longer
don't let it control your thought,
yes.
right?
Correct.
Like, don't let it control your thought. Like, focus on the other things about yourself. Like I said, create the better lure.
Yeah.
I want to be the best fishing lure possible so that when the right person is around me, they're going to want me.
Yeah.
But if I'm not a good lure, then the right person is going to walk right by me because I'm unattractive at the moment.
To be honest with you, you said something earlier, and what came to my mind, back in the day when I was in much better shape than I currently am, and I was riding motorcycles and doing stunts and things of that nature, and so there was the icebreaker, if you will, a lot of times with the females that I was talking to were those things.
Right.
The wheelies and the tricks and the racing, the tattoos, my size, whatever. But the funny part, though,
I just used cocaine. That was a lot easier.
Yeah.
It was less dangerous.
But with my wife,
maybe not.
What stood out with me with my wife, now that I look back at it, her like icebreaker to me wasn't anything to do with that. It was to do with my kids. Yeah. Like, she respected the how attentive of a father I was. And that's what kind of, I would like to think anyways, that she found me attractive and she liked those things about me. But the thing that she her icebreaker, which she talked to me most about, was my children and how she liked and respected my relationship that I had with them. And so that's an example of using a different lure. I didn't use the lure of, hey, look at me, I do these things. No. With her, it was, I'm just living my life, dude. I was just being who I am, and she respected and valued my current value system, and that's where we got along. Even to this day, that's one of the things that binds us together is our value system. Yeah. So I was fishing with
that's what I think, and then with that, I'm gonna have to probably just let you go.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes.
But it's like if you're out there and you're complaining about the people you're attracting because you're the one fishing for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, look, take a pause. Just. Don't be one of those people that say, I am who I am and that's all that I am. You're not Popeye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you don't need to be so rigid and concrete in your thinking, and you can be a little bit more adapting to your environment. If you're not getting what you want in life, you're allowed to reinvent yourself. And when I say reinvent yourself, I mean, I did reinvent most everything about me.
Yeah, same here.
You know what I mean? It just wasn't working for not that it wasn't working for me. It wasn't working for the me that I wanted to be.
Yep.
And so I had to reinvent things because there was a me that I had a vision that I could be, although I really didn't believe it was possible. I got to be honest with you. I really didn't believe this was possible. But then it started coming true. Yeah. So in Trinity, you and I talk about this all the time. The things that I have today that I cherish and value, I didn't even value then. So even if I would have thrown those like carrots in front of me, I wouldn't want them. If you would have said, hey, I'm going to be married 26 years, I would have said,
dude, you have video.
Loyal?
Yeah, you have video and audio recording of me saying I hate marriage.
Yeah. This is not what I valued. This is not what you valued. No. So you're not even going to get it when you're searching for it. I definitely was not searching for Dana when I found Dana. All I can say is that I do know bad situations when I feel bad situations, and I think the greatest gift to yourself is to be able to see any bad situation, whether it's your employment, whether it's your friendships, whether it's your significant other. It doesn't matter what it is. The principle is still the same. If it's a bad situation and it makes you feel bad about yourself, and it doesn't make you feel like this is something I can grow into and grow with, it's just not something that's going to be sustainable. It's probably temporary. Take what you want out of the temporary situation, but then when you walk away, just understand that was a temporary. You were good. I enjoyed you. I don't need to have bad feelings. Thank you very much. We had some fun, but I got to keep going.
Yep, pretty much.
I got to ramble. That's a Led Zeppelin thing, if you didn't catch that.
Well, I think you kind of hit it on the head there. So the only thing I can do to reiterate any of that is to move on to our top 3 tips before we're running out of time.
Okay.
So the three tips of 3 action steps, I guess I'll leave you with, is number 1, and we've said them throughout the show, but number 1 is there comes a point in every situation, be it a friendship, be it a relationships, a romantic one, or he even pointed out jobs, things of that nature. If something's coming to an end, if it's inevitable, there will be a point where you have to kind of just accept it. You're going to have to let go. You're going to have to stop fighting the great fight and just realize you've done all you can do. It's out of your control. I have to accept that there's a finality to this and it's over. The second tip is once it is over, once you've accepted that it's over, then you got to look inward. Then you got to use that whole situation as a teaching moment. Say, okay, how can I improve? None of us are perfect, and I'm not saying that the bad things that happen to us or the things that we don't like are all our fault by all means. However, there is a role that we played. Now, either it's a role that we played that was a catalyst to things, or as he pointed out earlier, maybe our picker's broken or our lure is wrong. Who knows? But you have to look inward and be honest with yourself and say, what is it that I can improve upon from that situation? And then lastly, once you've accepted it, once you've looked inward and you've grown from it, the last step is you got to apply what you learned. You can't keep making the same mistakes. You can't keep thinking that this next one's going to be different. No, you have to be different, and you have to apply those differences. Without applying those differences, you're going to have the same exact situation replaying itself over and over and over until you finally get it. So what I'm saying is do yourself a favor and everybody else around you a favor. Get it early. Get it early, apply it, and do better. So, having said that,
Wrap that rascal.
Yeah, and wrap it up. Now that you know better, do better. Peace. Are you still here? What are you doing? I told you, go do better.